All right, we back on this 289. This will be episode 2. So stay with us and we'll get into what we're gonna do. All right, so Andrew got the mains all cleaned up and on and torqued, and we got the line home set up, ready to go, and I got the bore gauge set, and I just run through the caps, and so 2 and 241 and 2/10 is the minimum dimension the hole can be, and then the maximum is 8/10 bigger than that, which is 2 and 442. So this cap, and this cap are all like, I think about 6 or 8/10 beyond the limit. And then this one is in, but just barely in. And I don't remember about the last one, but they are out of round. So they're taller this way than they are this way. So just for giggles, I'm gonna just dust the hone through dry so we can see how it's hitting. Not that it really matters, but I think it'd just be neat to see what it's doing. So I'm gonna do that, and then I'm sure, we're gonna cut all the caps and just line on this thing and get it happy. But it doesn't appear that any of it's ever been touched. So I think it'd be interesting just to see what kind of moving around it did. Hang loose, we'll pop all the caps off and be right back. All right, so it's kind of interesting. So it's hitting the front here, just a little bit the front here, and the front here a little bit, and then it's hitting the front and the back here, and it's hitting like over here on the side on this main. And I don't know why I don't ever do this. It just takes time, and we're gonna fix it anyway. It's kind of hitting over here on this side on the back. So it's hitting on this side on the front, this side on the back. And then, so in this first cap, like just right there, it's touching a little bit. You can see some. And then in this cap, so it's hitting over here, and it's hitting over here. Nothing over here. So it's hitting some over here, and it's hitting a lot over here. So it's like, I mean, it's really hitting on this side, and then nothing anywhere else, just right here. So I mean, it's twisted up, right? You can tell like it's twisted, and probably more stuff than we know is like that, and it's probably not super bad. Like it ain't 5 thousandths, but it's still that tunnel is just like this. So that's why we always just pretty much anything that we're going to put together, we line hone it just to correct kind of crazy problems like that. And 2, it measured taller this way than it did this way. So it was, it was big this way, and some amount, I don't remember, 0.5 thousandths or 8/10 smaller at the parting line. So we're going to just go ahead and cut all the caps, and then we'll just line hone it, bring it back to standard size, and call it a day. And another thing, while we on the subject. So people ask all of the time, does it make the timing chain, or a lot of people don't ask, they just tell me the timing chain is going to be loose. So the way we counteract that, and I'm just going to address it because so many people say it. So when this mandrel goes in, how we set this thing up is we got these pins, and there's pins for every mandrel. And these pins go in, and so what happens is So the goal is to have these pins flat, so this shoe, I don't want to lose my pins, this shoe actually lets up and down. So we got a wrench that goes in the end that lets that shoe up and down. So we can move the center line of this arbor up or down. And so the further we move this arbor up, the further that center line comes up. So if we wanted to, we could actually tighten the chain up if we wanted to. But I always set them just where the pins rock. So it's just a little bit high, maybe a thousandths or something. Because generally we cut the caps 3/1000ths or so, depending on how bad it is. And that's usually enough to shut the hole up for us to get back to standard bore. And we put them together all the time, and the timing chain is never loose. It's fine, the crank center line. And even if we didn't adjust the bar, again, if we cut the cap 3, we only moved the center line half of that. So we only moved the crank down 1/1000th and a half. So that's not gonna affect the timing chain anyway. But like I say, we always just make it proud a little bit, and that way it sort of counteracts anything we doing, so it's not, you know, it's not moving the crankshaft center line. Because again, we're just not moving it. But if we moved it enough to matter, we'd have rear seal problems also. So I hope that, you know, like I say, I just wanted to, I see a lot of people say something about that, so I just want to try to clear that up, how that works. All right, so hang loose and we'll get all of this cap stuff set up to grind, and then we'll be back with that. So we're probably going to end up having to cut them again. The back cap took a little more than it should have to get it flat, which happens from time to time. You know what torque spec was? Same thing. Get the torque wrench, let me go check it again. Yeah, they not straight across, so we're gonna have to definitely cut them again, but we're gonna dust them in right there and then just see how bad it is. You can feel this side around, and you can actually see the block kind of shaking. When it gets round, it won't do any of that. I mean, it ain't good, but it ain't like super horrible. We're gonna spin it around one time, and then we're gonna try to bring it on in a little closer, and then we'll probably have to cut the cap. Well, we're gonna have to cut the caps one more time, and then I think we can bring it right in then once we cut the caps one more time. We're getting close. But you can definitely see some shadows in the cap. But we're gonna get there though. Like I say, we're definitely gonna have to cut them one more time, a couple thousandths, but it ain't gonna be no big deal. So this one, and this one is big on one side. This one's perfect, and this one's good. So, but we're gonna have to cut them all. But you know, that's just part of getting all that wacky mess back in line. But I mean, it ain't much. I mean, it ain't but like a thousandths or something. But we'll have to pop these off and get them. Get the oil off of them, get them washed up, and then we can cut them again. And then the next time, it should clear everything up. Let's see, you can see it's just hitting on this outside edge and then over here on this side, but it ain't hitting on that side. It ain't hitting in the, I mean, it has some, but not all of it. But it's hitting the whole saddle all the way down. Same problem. And see, the cap didn't quite clean up on that side, so the side of the cap is not perpendicular to the bottom of the cap, and so you get that mess. And like I say, you can see how it gets wider as it comes over here, and then over here on this side, see, it's touching all the way across. So and then see, this one's a little bit not cleaned up all the way. You still see some shadowing over here and over here. But overall, you know, this cap was square with itself. So overall, it actually looks pretty good. And in the center, it measures perfect on both sides in the center. But you can tell if you measured it sideways, it would probably be. No, the block cleaned up. So the block cleaned up on both sides in the saddle. So it's mostly just in the caps. So all right, give us a minute and we're gonna cut these again, and then we'll bring you back when we hone it again. All right, so we cut the caps again, and I got it line honed and got it on size, and there was still one cap that was, it was just goofy. It had a shadow kind of at 3 o'clock, so I cut it like a thousandths one more time, and it came in. I honed them right to the, not quite to the high limit, but I've noticed in the past on these Fords, and I don't know why that is, but the book spec, most of this stuff I go like to the bottom or the middle of the tolerance, and the clearances work out. But I've done multiple of these small blocks, and if you hone them to the bottom or the mid tolerance, you just almost have no main bearing clearance. So somebody's confused somewhere, so we always just hone them to the high side. But it was like a thousandths, or yeah, was it a thousandths over the high side? I think it was big, up and down. It was big. So the line hone's done. I need to correct something on the cylinder heads for this deal. So I think, and again, this ain't no pointing no fingers. This is just, I can't remember, and I'm not a Ford guru, but I believe the customer said the heads were Hypo 289. So they are closed chamber, and I've done a little research, and on the first video, a couple of guys commented that knew more about this stuff than I do, and told me how to tell whether or not they were actually Hypo 289s. So I'll get Andrew to put some pictures in here somewhere as we're talking about it. But let's just walk over here and look. So everything that I can find on the interweb says that the closed chamber 289 and the Hypo 289 is the exact same port, chamber, runner, all of that. What's different is the Hypo, and he'll put a picture in here, has a female spring pocket cast into the cylinder head, plus it has screw-in studs from the factory. So that tells everybody that this is not a Hypo head, but it is a closed chamber 289. And the customer said that they had, because we was talking about, maybe bumping up the valve size a little bit, but I mean, the throat is so small and the runner is so small. I'm not saying it couldn't benefit, but when I was saying bump it up, I mean, I'm talking like, in a Chevrolet going from 2-inch to 202 or from 1940 to 2-inch or something. So if we could bump it up a little bit and just have fresh seats and open up the throat, that would be great. But I seen in the comments, a guy said that they always go like 194 or 160 valves in these things. And the customer said that they had done that before. But I'm gonna show you what that looks like. So the factory valves are 1 and 730, I think, 1730, 1740, and the exhaust is like 1 and 450. So I mean, it's T90. This is a 1.6, this is a 1.94. I mean, they literally almost touch. And it's sticking all the way over into this spark plug hole. I mean, that valve actually is over in there. So there is, I mean, I'm not gonna say there's no way nobody done that, but anybody that did do that just ruined a cylinder head. So number one is putting a valve that big with a port that small and a throat that small. I mean, you'd never get the throat to 85 or 90% without hitting water, number one, with that much valve. And number two, it's just the valve's just gonna be in the way. It's not doing, I mean, you can't see that, but man, I'm telling you, it's little bitty. I mean, it ain't 2 fingers wide. It's just Mickey Mouse in there. So I hope that we can find a good valve that's 20 thousandths bigger or something, and just be able to freshen the seats up. But again, the seats are not in super bad shape, so I mean, they would go back with the factory valve size. But I'm just saying, if we could find something stainless that was a little bigger, that would be nice, and then we could work the throat out and make it pretty and happy and all that stuff. But it ain't the valve stuff ain't no deal breaker either way. We was just trying to, do a little extra. If we're gonna have to buy valves, if we could do a little extra, it costs the same money. So that's where that was. But like I say, I should have researched this thing before I opened my mouth, but I thought that they were what they were. But again, it doesn't affect the cylinder head because it's the same casting. It's just, well, I mean, other than the spring pocket, but that's not going to affect anything we're doing. So at the end of the day, that's where we at. But now that we got the line home fixed, and like I say, it was a lot worse than I really expected it to be. Even the block was a little junky, but you know, what is that? 50, almost 60 years, maybe more than that, 65 years of you know, whatever torture it's been through. So I guess in real life, it's actually not so bad. Anyway, so I'm gonna call this an episode. We're gonna get the block washed, and I guess the next thing we'll do is get it decked so we can get that thing bored. So hang loose, and we'll have another episode up as soon as possible. Again, don't forget about the camshaft giveaway video, and check out the website if you need anything. We got another batch of shirts in. We had been out of some sizes, but we got a batch in, so if you need shirts, they are on the website, powellmachineinc.com. Thanks so much. We'll see you on the next one.